Hello to both of my online classes. I'm actually going to have this announcement cover um, information needed for World Civ 107 and Western Civilization 105. So first of all, I want to congratulate all of you who have been able to um, do the work necessary to get your grades to where you need them to be, and you were able to turn in the late work um, on time uh, at this point. Um, and for those of you who were not able to catch up for whatever reason, don't give up. I always tell the story. I have a friend who has a PhD in physics, and he does quite well materially. And he had many semesters where he had some really hard times and he attained straight Fs, and went back and took the class over, attained A's, and was able to move forward. So those are never ideal conditions, but I want to remind you all that if you have a bad semester because of so many things that are coming your way, don't give up and keep pursuing your goals and your dreams. Okay. Uh, um, and so, having said that, we do have the final coming up, and I want to just kind of go over a few things about that. But before I do that, I just want to kind of talk briefly about the information we covered. So in Western Civ and World Civ, we covered just a massive amount of information. And I had you all watch a lot of videos. And sometimes you'll notice that I had you watch an overwhelming amount of information and expose you to a lot of readings. I don't expect, I know it wouldn't be realistic to think that you would know everything that you covered. What I'm hoping that you discover for yourself after you're done with this class is that you now have information on your radar that you didn't before. You're going to you might hear about the Congo and Belgium and King Leopold, and you're going to go, oh, wait a minute. You might be thinking about U.S. intervention in Latin America, or think about the Cold War and the talk about, communists for socialists and all this other kind of stuff. And all these different, like I said, important topics that take place everywhere in the world on television and blogs, and podcasts, or just whatever your sources are, and you're going to actually, you're going to have some, it's going to, register something for you, and then maybe you're going to go out of your way to start pursuing an understanding of better develop, what you learned about in this class. That was my hope. Okay, so and you'll notice I didn't have you write as many essays. I was mainly just trying to get you exposed to all this different information. And so I ended on discussing the genocide in Gaza. And I have to, unfortunately, make a few last statements about this. To let you know, I am trying to do a presentation at the college at some point, if I'm allowed to, which I could cover a lot more different talking points. I do think this is going to be one of the most historically significant events, tragically, of the 21st century, because this is the first televised genocide that is being supported by the United States and the West, and simultaneously rejected by many throughout the world, and simultaneously creating a lot of conflict of feelings and thoughts coming from within liberal camps, the Jewish community, the older folks versus the younger folks. Gen Zers are interpreting things differently than some of the older folks, and it's kind of beyond just left-right polarization in terms of political trends. And tragically, the documentation is real, and we're talking about ethnic cleansing, about transferring the entire population of Palestine into somewhere like Somalia. That's actually being discussed by Israeli planners and maybe some U.S. officials. And I think it has to be condemned. And for the record, it is condemned by me, myself here, and the way that I would be condemning, and I still condemn what happened with the Holocaust and World War II. What I condemn what happened with Pol Pot and Khmer Rouge. Um, we can go a list of historic things that have gone wrong, right? And we'll have to leave it to ask ourselves why we don't learn from history, or what do we need to do to learn from history? Well, this part will be left up to all of you. Okay, so having said that, let me now return to our final. You'll notice it's not as many points as some of the projects that you just had to do note taking. Okay, some of you will also notice that if you didn't take the exam, you would still get the grade that you wanted. That's up to you. I do not calculate grades for students. I don't have the time, and that's just not what I do. I am not saying go ahead and just don't do the exam, but I am saying this: on Canvas, you can lock in potential grades and see what your points are. And if you've turned all your assignments in and you see that you don't need the points, if you write to me and say, Professor Pollack, I'm not going to take the exam, go ahead and put a 0 there, and you get the grade you want, whether it's an A, B, or a C, or whatever. That's up to you, and that's totally acceptable. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you choose not to take the exam, because it means that you have such a high score because you really worked hard in the class and you actually are leaving this class in a very strong position. So please keep that in mind. Now, what I have to do last minute, and I've been trying to do this, but I got to make sure that you did complete all the assignments. And what I want you to do as well is do that yourself. Go through and make sure. And if for some reason at this point I didn't I didn't give you a 0, I will make the exception of letting you turn that in late for credit if I didn't put a grade in, because what it means is that the grade you have right now is not accurate. So there should be a 0 or some points in every assignment that you have. The extra credit assignments don't count. Okay. So make sure that. Last thing, I want to remind you, if you look, I've mentioned that Canvas has a graveyard of all my old assignments. So those don't count. Only look at the assignments that I assigned for you in each week's modules. That's the only ones that you need to worry about. And so, all right, so that's it. I hope you all have a fulfilling rest of your summer. It's hot here in Modesto again, very hot. And perhaps we'll be in touch in the future. May we all thrive, take care of ourselves, and find ways to contribute to a better world for everyone that's living on it. Every child deserves to be born into a world that is better than the one that we're making right now. All right. We'll be in touch.